All right, good evening, everyone, again. So we are ready to start. All right, as you know, today we are going to talk about another important aspect when we teach a language, no? That is related to the vocabulary. All right. So remember that the two previous classes on this module 9 were related to the grammar. Now these two next are related to the vocabulary aspect, no? So this lesson and the next one, the final lesson of this module, this module 9, is related to the vocabulary. And then we're going to pass to the last module, the module number 10, related to the ICT, no? So as you can see here, no, as you can see here, when we talk about vocabulary, the most common relationship that we make with this word, we are going to repeat again, is the word, right? Yes. When we talk about vocabulary, we refer to words. So we are going to start today with the lesson, yeah, by answering three questions. I'm gonna give you this link. Remember that we used in some classes, in some lessons, the digital tool that is called Padlet. So now we're going to use it again, and you're going to give me your opinions. What do you think about the vocabulary? And also you have to tell me what do we need to know, or what do we have to know about word. And the last question is, how can we remember words? So I'm gonna give you the link. You need to enter to this part to give you comments. Yeah, I'm gonna put it here on the chat. Yeah, everybody. I'm going to share also this part in order to watch the questions. I'm going to, yeah. So can you watch it? Tell me you can watch it. Yes, can you watch it?
Yes, teacher.
All right. So tell me, please, vocabulary. Remember, we're talking about vocabulary. So you have here three questions. Remember, you have to answer these three questions. It's according to your point of view. Remember, you don't need to look up for information on the internet. No, no, no. It's not necessary to do that. Just I want you to know what you know about this topic. All right. So what is vocabulary for you? What do we have to know about a word? And the third question is, how can we remember words? And so please, I'm gonna give you some minutes to do it. Yeah, try to answer these three questions, giving me your ideas, your opinions, what you know about this. Everybody please enter to the link, to the Padlet link, and write the answers for these three questions. Everybody please. Don't forget to write your names. Don't forget to write your names in order to know who is writing. One person says, vocabulary is to know the meaning of the words we'll use in order to express our ideas. That's good, that's good. Any other one? Tanya. All right, Tanya. Very good, very good. Anybody else? Anybody else? What is vocabulary for you? William, all right, you're writing on the chat. Okay, very good, William. All the words used in a particular language. All right. Ruth, I think vocabulary is all the words in a language. Okay. Another person says to know the meaning of an unknown word. All right. Anybody else? Anybody else? What do we have to know about a word? Can you tell me? No, no, no. Nobody else? Nobody else? Related to the vocabulary? Flora says, vocabulary is the collection of words that we are trying to learn in order to communicate and express everything that we want. All right. Okay, Tanya, write it again. We have to know the purpose or function of each word in a sentence or paragraph. Aha, that's good, Tanya. This is one of the aspects that we need to know about a word, the function. All right, Veronica. Very good. Very. If you could not enter to the link, you can write your answers on the chat. Yeah, don't forget. Don't worry, you cannot enter. You can write the answers on the chat. All right. Aha, Veronica says the words that we know. All right, the vocabulary are the words that we know. Ruth says, I think vocabulary is all the words in a language. All right, all right. Anybody else? Anybody else? So most of you agree, no? Most of you agree that a vocabulary is related to words, no? The words that we could have in a language, that we learn, no? That we acquire, no? In a language, all right? And we use them to communicate, to express everything that we want, no? As Flor says. According to Tanya, one of the aspects that we must know about a word is the function of words in a sentence. That's good. One person says we can remember words using memory techniques. All right, that's good. This is one of the ways to remember words, no? To make these words be longer, no? In our mind, in our brain. Darío says, without vocabulary, we can't speak. Exactly, not just speak, no, write too. You cannot understand, no, everything, everything. If we don't have a vocabulary, so we couldn't understand, no. For example, if a person right now starts speaking in Japanese, you couldn't understand, right? Because you don't know words in Japanese. Notice vocabulary is the most important part in a language. No words. With words, we cannot do anything. No, anything. For example, there is a saying that says, no, with no grammar, we can do a little, but with no vocabulary, we can do nothing. Now remember this expression. No, this is a saying. With no grammar, we can do little. With no vocabulary, we can do nothing. All right. Okay. Okay. So one person, I don't know exactly the name because he has his laptop. Vocabulary is the total number of words. All right. Okay. Another person says, word is a unit of language. A word is a unit of the language consisting of one or more spoken. Yeah, sounds. All right. For example, this is one of the other aspects that we must know about a word, no? Not just the meaning, not just the function. Notice that we are talking about what do we need to know about a word. Inside your comments, inside your written test, you are telling me what do we need to know about a word, no? We need to know the meaning of the word. We need to know the function of the word. We need to know the pronunciation, no? Because if you want to speak a word, talk a word, so you're going to join sounds, no? That's it. Or the written representation. Very good, very good. All right, so here you have very good ideas about, so you know something about vocabulary, no? So it's important to know about vocabulary. All right, okay, Juan Carlos, very good, Juan Carlos. The word is a unit of language consisting of one or more spoken sounds or the written representation. Very good, Juan Carlos. Another person in the chat says, vocabulary is necessary to speaking another language. Yeah, all right. No? So if you don't know any word, you cannot speak, you cannot write, you cannot understand, no? You cannot read. Notice, no? It's so important, vocabulary, when we learn or acquire a language. Okay, okay, David. All right, David says, I think vocabulary is important because, oh, yeah. Oh, be careful, David. What are you writing? I can understand you. More easy another language. Yeah, you can understand easier, no? Another language. Okay. All right, so we are going to go back. Now we are going to go back. We are going to stop using this Padlet. Now we are going to go back to the slides. So we were discussing, you were giving me your ideas about vocabulary. What is vocabulary for you? So now we are going to start talking about what is it? All right, what is it? So here, yeah, can you watch my slides? Yes? Can you watch my slides? Yes, can you watch my slides?
Yes, Professor.
All right. Okay, so we are going to start. What is vocabulary? So here we're going to analyze some aspects related to vocabulary. As you told me, notice that here you have one idea of vocabulary it is. Vocabulary is all the words we have or teach the students to create new language. No? So as you told me, the words, no? The words that we have in a language, no? Maybe we acquire or maybe we learn, no? So it here says we teach our students to create new language. If we talk about English vocabulary, we could say that this is a little complex. In order to know, here you have what do we need to know about a word, no? We need to know or we need to analyze three main aspects. Remember when we talk about grammar, no? Grammar, we analyze also three aspects. And here, if you can notice, we have the same three aspects: the form, the meaning, and use, as well as layers connected to the root of individual words, no? How we create, how we make up words, no? So notice here, the form, the meaning, and the use. Teaching vocabulary involves lexical phrases and knowledge of English vocabulary and how to learn in it. So we talked about here lexical phrases. Remember that lexical phrases come from the words, no? It comes from the word lexeme, no? A lexeme. Do you know what is a lexeme? Do you have an idea what is a lexeme? That's why here says lexical phrases. So we are going to group lexemes and we are going to make phrases. That's why here we say lexical phrases. So what are the lexical phrases? What is a lexeme? Anybody knows about what is a lexeme? For example, let's make a feedback. We talked about a little bit about this term, lexeme, when we talked about morphology. Can you remember about morphology? Remember that morphology is the study of how we form words, no? So it's going to be related to vocabulary, right? So we talk about in morphology morphemes. And you have another term that is related to a morpheme, that is lexeme. So what is a lexeme? When we join 2 or 3 lexemes, we're making a lexical phrase. Lexical phrase, remember, now don't forget, lexeme, it's a word. Remember, lexeme is a word, a basic word. Don't forget about it. A lexeme is a word. It's a basic word. Lexical phrases means that we are going to use these words together. We're going to join these words together. So teaching vocabulary involves teaching this joining of words, joining of lexemes. No, we are not going to teach words in isolation, no, in a separated way. We're going to teach them as a group, all right? And also how to learn it. No, this is very important, strategies. How to remember, how to learn words. No? So notice what is involved in teaching vocabulary. One of the parents is coming. All right. So vocabulary can be defined as the words of a language, as you told me, including single items and phrases or chunks. No, remember that we talked about this term before. No, chunks, a group of words. No, chunks of several words which convey a particular meaning. No, they have a particular meaning, and the way individual words do. So we are going to analyze, notice, we're going to define the words of a language, including the single words, phrases, or chunks with a particular meaning. No? Oh, be careful with your microphones. All right, thank you. Again. Yeah, all right. Okay, so here you have this related to what is vocabulary. So remember, when we talked about a word, we must know the form, the meaning, and the use. We are going to teach lexical phrases and how to learn, how to remember them. This is very important. Now, here we are going to talk about it. Form. When we talk about the form, we are going to analyze these. We have this table. In this table, you can see the component. For example, some of you told me, no? I think it was Juan Carlos, no? When we talked about a word, we are going to combine sounds and also the written form, no? So that's why here it says spoken, written, and the word parts, the composition. Spoken is related to what does the word sound like, you know? This is related to the reception when you perceive the word, no? What does the word sound like? When you produce, how is the word pronounced? So the pronunciation of words. In the written part, in the written component, aha, Ana Maria, that's right. Lexical phrase is a sequence of words. That's good. So in the form, remember, the written component is what does the word look like? No? And in the production, so how is the word written and spelled? And finally, we have the word parts. What parts are recognizable in this word? And the production, what word parts are needed to express the meaning? So notice, what are the aspects referring to the form? Remember that we have three aspects when we analyze a word, no? What we need to know about a word. The form is referring to the composition, how is it made, no? In a written form and in a spoken form, no? Because you're going to use words not just for writing, you use words for speaking too, right? But not just to produce. You also listen and read words, all right? That's why here we divide it in two, no? Receptive means listening and reading. Productive means speaking and writing. So words, you're going to use words in all the skills, no? Not just for writing, not just for speaking. You use words because you need to understand, no? You need to understand what the other person is talking to you. Or you need to understand when you read a text. And in order to understand, you need to know what is a word, no? the form of the word. All right? So notice here. Well, let's continue with the next aspect, the meaning. When we talk about the meaning, again, we have three components. And again, we have in the two parts, no? As a reception and production. All right? So the first component is the form meaning. What meaning does this word form signal? So in simple, what is the meaning of the word? No? Productive. What word form can be used to express this meaning? So you want to say something. So what word or words could you use to speak or write to the intended message, not to the intended meaning? The second is concepts or references. In the receptive knowledge, so what is included in this concept? And in the productive knowledge, so what items can the concept refer to? So notice most of words have a definition, have a concept. So what is included in this concept? You can use it in many aspects. And also in the productive, what do they refer to? And finally, we have the third component, that is the associations. What other words does this make people think of? This is in the receptive part. In the productive, what other words could people use instead of this one? Notice here. What other words does this make people think of? For example, when you say happy, oh yeah, happy, cheerful, no? Very happy, cheerful, satisfied, blessed. So notice, this word happy or cheerful made you think of other words related to this meaning, right? And the productive, so now you're going to use this, no? So instead of this, you could use this. Oh yeah, instead of happy, I could use cheerful. Or instead of cheerful, I could use satisfied. So notice, this is related to the meaning, no? The concepts and the references. And the associations, no? That we are going to use. For example, when we talk about syntax, no? Remember that we talked about two axes of languages, paradigmatic and syntagmatic. Can you remember about it? Paradigmatic and syntagmatic axis of languages. So it means that we could make sentences joining words, right? And we could replace, notice, we could replace some words with other words. Sometimes grammatically they are correct, but the sense is not correct. So here you have this aspect, not related to the meaning of words. And the last aspect is the use. Here, the first component is the grammatical or functions and functions. In what patterns does the word occur? Notice, in what patterns does the word occur? So when are you going to use these words or these words or these words or group of words? And in the productive, how is the word pronounced? Collocations. What words or type of words occur with this one? Or what words or type of words must people use with this one? These are the collocations. Now remember, collocations refer to words which go together. No, words which go together. These are the collocations. So you have, for example, no, listen to the teacher, listen to the music. Notice here you have some collocations, no? So you know what is the next word, no? What is the next word related to the previous one, no? So we call these collocations. Now, and the last one is the constraints on use. So where, when, and how often would people accept to meet this word? This is in the receptive one. And the productive knowledge, where, when, and how often can people use this word? So here you have all the aspects that we need to know about a word. Notice, not just the meaning, and it's not just the meaning. For example, I told you this part too when we talk about in phonetics, how to use the dictionary, no? Remember when we have a dictionary, sometimes we are focused more on the translation or the meaning. That's it. That's all, no? You don't look up for more information in a dictionary. Maybe the translation, how you say it in Spanish, or maybe what is the meaning, no? And sometimes just the first meaning, and that's it. We don't go further, all right? We don't go further. But remember, when we look up a word in a dictionary, you have a lot of information, and this is the information that I told you. For example, in a dictionary, you can find the pronunciation of the word. Remember, a dictionary works with lexemes. These are lexemes, basic words, all right? These are lexemes. Remember, dictionary works with lexemes. So here you can find the pronunciation of a word. In a dictionary, you can find the pronunciation of the word, how you pronounce the word. And notice this is related to the form. How many syllables does a word have? Distress, no? If it is British or American, maybe we change some sounds, not some vowels specifically. Then, after the pronunciation, you have that type of word. No? If it is a verb, if it is a noun, if it is an adjective, an adverb, a preposition. So you can find this. And also, if you say it if it's a verb, you can have the two major categories, no? Content words or function words. So you say, yeah, this is a content word. Oh, no, 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 this is a function word. Sometimes a word could have many different types of words. One word could be a verb, could be an adverb. Or one word could be a conjunction, or maybe a preposition or an adverb. So notice the information. Then you have the meaning. And also, if you find more, for example, in the online dictionaries, you can find some expressions related to this. You can find some phrasal verbs that we can make with this word. So you can have a lot of information. The problem here, maybe we are not using so well the dictionary, no? We just go for the first part, no? Oh yeah, this is a word, yeah, that's its translation, the meaning, that's it. And you close it or you pass to another word. So notice all the information that you could obtain in a word. And in English is very special because, as I told you before, words in English could have many different types, or you can change some pronunciation. No, for example, here you have the word close. Close is the same word, but one is a verb and the other is an adjective, and the pronunciation changes. Close, close. You write in the same way, but you pronounce in two different ways, with the sound s and the sound z. One is the verb and the other is the adjective. So notice all the aspects that we need to know related to a word. All right? So don't forget it. When we talk about word, what are the knowledge that we need to have is related to the form, how we make up the word, the meaning, and the use. All right? So when we talk about these three aspects, we are going to analyze some parts. Words, remember, words have different functions. Some carrying mainly grammatical meaning, while others bear a greater information load. For example, when we analyze this, what are we talking about? For example, here says that some words have just grammatical meaning, and some words have more information, a great information load. So here we have two different types of words. Then we're going to analyze this. I told you a few minutes ago, a few seconds ago. When we talk about this, we're talking about the content words and function words. Remember this term, yeah? Content words, function words. Content words, they have a great information load. The function words, just a grammatical meaning. The same word can have a variety of forms. Remember, we can change one word in different forms. Words can be added to, combined to form new words. You can add some parts to the word. You can combine two words. Maybe you extract some parts of this and you join with the other one, no? For example, the word internet. Internet is composed by two words, but they are not complete, right? They are half and a half, no? So internet. Inter comes from the word international. Net comes from the word network. So you cut up, no? You cut up the part of these two words and you join these two. All right, so we call this blending, no? So we call this blending. You're mixing some parts of words and you create a new one. That's why here it says, no, we could add, we could combine, we can form new words. For example, internet is a new word. No? So we go back 100 years ago or 200 years ago. So this word is not in the vocabulary of the people of that age. No? Words can group together to form units that behave as if they were single words. So you join two or three words, but they have just one meaning. Many words commonly co-occur with other words. No, you could use different words in the same position, but the meaning is different, right? Words may look and or sound the same, but have quite different meanings. So you can write some words in the same way, but with different meanings. Or you can pronounce some words the same, but with different meanings. One word may have a variety of overlapping meanings. So one word could have many different meanings, not just one. All right, many different meanings. For example, the verb get. Get has a lot of meanings, right? Oh, I got late. Oh, I get my book back. I got my book back. Notice, in the first sentence, get has one meaning, and in the second, get has another meaning, right? Different words may share similar meanings or may have opposite meanings. So here you have some words have similar meanings, so the synonyms, or opposite meanings, antonyms. All words can have the same or similar but used in different situations for different effects. And so notice all the aspects, notice all the aspects that we are going to analyze in a word. The meaning, remember, the form, the meaning, and the use. And when we analyze these three aspects, we have a lot of things that we need to know about a word. So let's look at them. Vocabulary is not only a body of single words, remember, not just learning, yeah, this is one word, you know the meaning of words, but it's not that, no? You're not going to work with words in isolation. You're going to work with words as a group, no? Together. So according to the lexical approach, this is an approach related to how to teach a language, developed by Michael Lewis. So according to this approach, this is a way, teaching a language is a way of analyzing based on the idea that is made up of lexical units rather than grammatical structures. According to this approach, when we learn or teach a language, we're learning or we're teaching our students lexical units, not exactly grammatical structures. So we are going to analyze and teach the language based on this idea, no? That we are going to teach them and they are going to acquire lexical units rather than grammatical structures. Notice according to this approach, the lexical approach. So the units are words, chunks formed by collocations and fixed phrases. All right, so here you have these units. No, so one of your partners says on the written test, no, on the Padlet. So you say units. Yes, words are units, units of a language. And with these units, we are going to create chunks. Chunks, remember, chunks are a group of words, chunks, formed by collocations or fixed phrases. No? So these are the chunks, remember, chunks. So vocabulary consists of single words. For example, you have book, pen, teacher, school, no? Single words. Then you have compound words. So you're going to combine words to form new words. For example, record player, time saver. So they are compound words, no? Lipstick. No, some of them are written together, some of them are written in a separated way, some of them are written with a hyphen, no, some of them are used as an adjective, as a noun. No? So we have a lot of information about the compound words. No? So, but remember, compound words is when we join words to form new ones, all right? But with just one meaning. Notice we are going to group these two words, but we don't have two meanings. The meaning is just one. The other are multi-word units or lexical chunks, which are more or less fixed. By the way, notice this is a lexical chunk or multi-word units. By the way, upside down, out of the blue, bits and pieces. So these are the lexical chunks, no? Which are more or less fixed. No? You join these two words together, all right? Also, we have collocations or word partnerships, which are less fixed. No? Break a record, set a record, word record, formal education, formal letter. And notice you're joining words. It's a kind of fixed, no? It's a kind of fixed structure. No? You have a verb plus a noun, no? Or you have some verb with some prepositions, no, adjective after some prepositions, no? So notice these are the collocations or word partnerships. So notice vocabulary consists of all of these different kind of words, from single ones to a bigger structure, no? When you join two words, three words, four words together. So this is the composition of vocabulary. Oh, yeah. So we are going to start talking about some aspects related to vocabulary. When we talk about vocabulary, we are going to talk about word classes and word families. Word classes and word families. Sometimes we think that these two terms are similar or they are equal, but no. Word classes and word families are not so similar. For example, let's start talking about word classes. Word classes are the different roles, the different functions. For example, one of your partners says that, no? The function of a word. The different role or the different functions that a word has inside a text or inside a sentence. So here we have different type of words. Or can you remember the other name for this aspect of the vocabulary? How do we call this? Word classes or related to the syntax? Can you remember? Word classes or word types or, oh, sorry, yeah, Martha. Okay, Martha, yeah. So, can you remember, please, can you remember another term when we talk about word classes? For example, we have nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, conjunctions, and determiner. So remember, when we talk about word classes, a more technical name for this aspect of vocabulary is parts of speech. Remember this, parts of speech. So we have the different types of words inside a language, no? So we have the nouns, the pronouns, the verbs, the adjectives, and so on, no? So these are the parts of speech or word classes. Remember, these are the function, the roles that each word has inside a text or inside a sentence. What about the word families? Word families comprises the base word plus inflections and its most common derivatives. For example, here you have the word play. Play is the base word, the lexeme. Notice, this is the lexeme. Play is the lexeme, the basic word. But to this word, you could add other parts, no? Like prefixes and suffixes. For example, here it talks about inflections. Inflection, what is an inflection? When you use, no, some parts of a word to give a grammatical meaning. For example, in English, we have just a few inflections, no? Present simple, for example, you have one inflection. When you add the letter S to the verb, no? He plays, plays. Notice, he plays, she plays, it plays. So you add the letter S, no? This letter S is a suffix. It's a morpheme. Notice, it's a morpheme, and it has a grammatical function. With this S, you are indicating that this is in a third person singular present simple, right? Notice, this is the meaning of this morpheme, no? This suffix. For example, this S is called an inflectional morpheme, no? But the other one is the derivational, derivates. That's why here it says derivates. So you are going to change the word, the type of word, or you can change the meaning of the word. For example, you have here replay. You're adding a prefix, but you are changing the meaning, right? It means that you have to play it again. Replay, oh, play it again. So you change the meaning, not the original meaning of play, no? Player, notice, play, you add the suffix er. So again, you are changing the type of word. You are changing the word class. Notice, play is a verb, player is a noun, a person who plays something, right? Playful, now you change it to an adjective. It's not a verb anymore. Now it's an adjective. Again, you're changing the type of word. You're changing the word class. So we call this, remember, derivation. We call this aspect derivation. So when we talk about word families, we're talking about how we create, how we form words, how we are going to create words with different morphemes. But these are related to basic words. Remember, base words, which are lexemes. Remember the term, lexemes are the base words. When you say player, player is not a lexeme. All right? So here, because you add a suffix to the base word. All right? So notice here, word classes, word families. Word classes, the roles, the function of words. Word families, the composition of words, how you are going to create words, adding some parts. No? You add some inflectional morphemes or derivational morphemes. So we talked about this when we talked about morphology and syntax. No? All right, let's continue. The other one, oh, I don't know what happened with the movements of these words. The other ones are related to content words and function words. Content words, words which carry a high information load. So the principal words in a sentence, they have the meaning, they have the definition, the message. Which are they? Nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. These are the content words. The function words, these words just contribute to the grammatical structure of a sentence. No? They are more like linkers. No? They are connectors. They connect the nouns with the verbs or an adjectives or adverbs. No? Which are they? The pronouns, prepositions, conjunctions, and determinants. So notice here these two types of words. Content words, function words. Content words, they carry the main meaning of the sentence, of the phrase, of the message. Function words, they are just contributors. No? They are contributors. They contribute to the grammatical structure of a sentence. So don't forget about these two types of words. Now we are going to talk about this. Synonyms. These are words that share the same meaning. For example, old, ancient, elderly, age, antique, etc. So you have words which have similar meanings, no, same meaning. However, notice something interesting. Synonyms words are not always used in the same way. They could have a similar meaning, but it doesn't mean that you're going to use these words in all the context, in all situations. For example, an old and ancient city, but you cannot say elderly car, no? Elderly, remember, elderly is a synonym of old, ancient, but it's not used when you talked about cars. You use old car, new car. You don't say elderly car. Notice here, they could have the same meaning, but now you have to analyze the use. That's why we talked about meaning, form, use. So they have the same meaning or similar meaning, but they are not used in the same context. Notice this is very special about it. Now, on the other side we have the antonyms. Antonyms are words opposite in meaning to other words. For example, old, no? New and young. However, the opposite of an old man is a young man, but the opposite of an old city is a new one, not a young city. Again, notice that we have, or they have, these similar meanings, but we are not going to use them in the same context, in the same situation. Notice this is very important. So it's important to know the meaning, it's important to know the form, but it's important to know the use. When are you going to use these words? In which context? No? That's why we analyze these contents, these components. No? In which contents, or in which parts, or in which context this word occur? So this is very important to know. All right? Another aspect related to vocabulary is homonyms. Homonyms are words that share the same form but have unrelated meanings. For example, you have here the word like. Like. In these two phrases, you have the same word, right? It's the same word, same spelling, same pronunciation, but the meaning or the function of this word is different. I like looking like, here it's a verb. But on the other one, it look like is not just a verb, it's an adverb. That's why we change the meaning too, right? Notice we call this homonyms. So we have the same form, but have unrelated meanings, different meanings. Like as a verb and like as an adverb. That's why it's so important to know the different parts of word or classes of word. No? That's what I told you at the beginning. No? When you look up a word in a dictionary, and also we must give them to our students, don't just stay at the beginning of the first part. You need to look for more. Oh yeah, like is a verb, yes. But maybe it could be used as another type of word. So you have to do that, remember. Another example, go to the fair, it's a fair price. Fair, in the first phrase or sentence, is a noun, right? You're talking about a place, no? Go to the fair, yeah, you're talking about a place, no? Where you have fun, no? Similar to a park, no? Principally, these fair are holding parks, no? To entertain people. And notice the meaning and the function of the word. The meaning is related to a place where people go to have fun. No, this is a fair. It's a noun. But on the other one, it's a fair price. You change completely the meaning, right? Now it's an adjective. So it means that it's the exact price, no? No more, no less, no? It has more positive meaning, no? That is not so expensive, no? So it's a fair price. Notice it's the same form, the same pronunciation, but different meanings and different uses, different types of words. So notice here, we call this homonyms. Remember, homonyms. Now the other one, polysyms. Polysyms are words that have multiple but related meanings. Notice here. Homonyms, words which have the same form, different meanings. We have meanings, not just one, two, or maybe three. Polysyms is a kind of similar, but they are related meanings. Notice the difference. The first one, unrelated meanings. The second one, they have not just one meaning. You could have two or three meanings, but they are related. They are connected. The examples. Oh, there are two more people. Yeah. Let's go to the examples. The house is at the foot of the mountains. One of his shoes fell too tight for his foot. Notice here you have the same word, the same form, the same pronunciation. We have here a difference in the meaning, but it's not so different, right? It's not so different because we're talking about a bottom, the bottom part of something, no? When we talk about the foot of the mountains, so it means the beginning, no? The beginning part of the mountains. When we talk about our body, the foot, it's just the beginning of our body, no? From the bottom to the top. Maybe we could use in different contexts, no? This is related to an animated thing, and the other is related to people, but they don't lose, or they don't have a big difference in the meaning, right? The meaning is related to this one. On the other side, the homonyms, they have completely different meanings. But here in the polysems, we could have multiple meanings, but these meanings are related. They are connected. It doesn't mean that they have to be equal. They don't have equal meanings, but they have similar meanings, right? So we call these words polysems. Remember, polysems. So these words are related to the meanings. The first one, completely different meanings. The second one, similar meanings. All right? Now, let's talk about the sounds and the spelling. Homophones, words that have the same sound but different spelling. So you have, for example, tail, tail. You pronounce these two words the same, right? That's why here says the same sound. But you write these words differently. Meat, meat. Notice, meat, meat. You pronounce these two words the same, but you write them differently. Let's pass to the other ones. Homographs. What are the homographs? Words that have the same writing but different pronunciation. Here. Oh, teacher, yeah, leave, go on. They have the same pronunciation. No, it depends on the type of word. Live is pronounced when you use it as a verb. But if you use this word as an adjective, notice, live is also alive because you're going to change the pronunciation. Live is an adjective. You write the same. Notice, the spelling is the same, but the pronunciation is different. Live, live. For example, no, when you say, I live in Chosica, or I live in Cusco, and the other, oh, yesterday I went to a live concert. Live concert. Notice, live. You're using this word as an adjective, and you change the pronunciation. This is very special about English. Sometimes we change the pronunciation of a word and we change the meaning and the type of word. So notice this. For example, the word record, 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 record. You write the same, right? You write the same, but you change the type of word. One is a noun and the other is a verb. Notice here how we are going to change the meaning of word just by changing the pronunciation. In this case, you don't change the writing. No, the writing is the same. Another example, read, read. Read, present simple, read, past simple. You write the same, but you pronounce differently. And you change the tense. Now here you are changing the tense. Notice just by changing the pronunciation, you are changing the tense. Read, read. And this word red in past simple is an homophone of the color, no? Red. Homophone, the same pronunciation, different spelling. Notice here. So here we're analyzing the pronunciation and the spelling. Now, let's talk about another aspect related to vocabulary. Hyponyms and superordinated terms. Hyponyms are related to a superordinated term. This superordinated term is like an umbrella term that includes within it other words with related meanings. The words that are related in meaning with the superordinated terms are called hyponyms. So in some books you can find this also as lexical categories or semantic categories. We are going to use the hyponyms. So let's look at the example. Look at this example. We have the word color. Color is a superordinated term. So this is called a hypernym. No? So this is the umbrella, as here says, no? The umbrella term includes other words. No? This word color includes other words with related meanings. For example, you have purple, red, blue, green. So these are hyponyms. Notice purple, red, blue, green are hyponyms. And if they are at the same level, notice that they are at the same level because this is like a hierarchy. If they have, or these words appear at the same level, they are called cohyponyms. Red and blue are cohyponyms because they are at the same level. Notice the other one, but purple at the same time, the color purple at the same time is also another superordinate term because it includes other words related to this color. So crimson, violet, lavender. So we call this kind of structure hyponymy. Hyponymy. Another one could be the word furniture, no? Furniture, teacher, furniture, sofa, chair, armchair, and so on. Oh, jewelry, all right, earring, necklace, bracelet, no? So we have these hyponyms, no? So these are things that they are gonna have a relationship. No, one word includes other words with related meanings. Here we have a lexical field. A lexical field, words that have the same thematic relationship. And you could tell me, but teacher, this is not the same as the hyponyms? Maybe they are a kind of similar, right? But notice the example. We have the word Christmas. Christmas theme. So we have the snow, the icicles, and fireplace. So what would be the difference with the previous one? Can you tell me? The hyponyms or hyponymy and the lexical field. Any idea? What would be the difference between the hyponym? Notice I'm going to go back. The hyponyms, notice, is one term that includes within other words with related meanings. Now, let's go to the lexical field. Words that have the same thematic relationship. Yeah, let's analyze. Let's go back to the previous one. For example, when we talk about color and you have the different types, notice we're talking about the different types of colors. All right? Here, for example, we could also talk about parts, a whole and a parts, no? Types, some kind of description, no? But notice here, types, different types of colors. But now, let's go to the other one, to the lexical field. Christmas is the topic. Notice, the topic is Christmas. And we have a lot of words related to this topic, right? For example, oh, Christmas, sweet cake, turkey. Notice, we are talking about words which are related to the topic. They are not types of Christmas, right? We're not talking about a whole and parts. For example, in the hyponym, one example of whole and parts is the body. Let's imagine that we have the term is the body. Ah, yeah, teacher, in our body we have legs, ears, face, head, no, eyes. Notice a whole and parts. Or types. No? We consider also types. No? Here the color, different types. But in the lexical field, we're not talking about types. We're not talking about wholes and parts. No. Words which have a connection with this topic, maybe referring to the society, no? To the society, maybe related to some cultures, all right? Let me give you another example. Let's imagine that we talk about houses. Houses is the general term. Ah, teacher, yeah, houses. Ah, yeah, houses we have detached, flat, and you start giving up blocked. So notice you are giving me different types of houses, right? Places to live. But in a lexical field, oh yeah, teacher, cozy or big, enormous, spacious. Notice the difference. In the hyponymy, you have the general term house. What are the co-hyponyms? Oh yeah, detached, flat or apartment, no, single house, block of houses, or block of flats or departments. You are giving me different types of houses. But when I say lexical field, houses, yeah, house could be big, small, cozy, warm. Words which are connected, no? They have a relationship related to the topic, the thematic relationship. This is the difference with the hyponyms. And don't forget about the difference between these two terms. Some cases we could say they are similar, no? They are similar. But notice the difference. In the hyponymy, we usually talked about types, different types of something, or classes of something, or whole and parts. But in the lexical field, no, just words which have a connection with this kind of term, no, with this general term or topic. No, here is the topic. That's why here says Christmas theme. All right, the Christmas theme. So words which are related to the theme of Christmas. All right, and we have here a lot of words, no, a lot of words. And notice that it depends, no, it depends on the context. All right, it depends on the context. For example, some people celebrate Christmas in a different way like we do. So for us, maybe a turkey is part of a Christmas, but for some other people, turkey is not part of a Christmas. So it's not included in this lexical field. No? So notice here, what is the difference between hyponymy and lexical fields? Now, let's pass to the other one. The third question that you have in the Padlet, no? How can we remember, or how can we learn vocabulary? How is vocabulary learned? We analyze the different aspects that we need to know. Remember, this is the first part. What aspects do we need to know about a word? Now we're going to pass to the next part. How is vocabulary learned and how can we remember words? So let's start talking with this. Knowing a word, as we have seen before, involves knowing its form and its meaning and also the use, no? The mind seems to words neither randomly nor in the form of a list. Remember, we're not going to learn the words as a list, no? But in a highly organized and interconnected fashion called the mental lexicon. Notice that it comes from the word lexemes, lexicon. Lexicon is the group of lexemes that you have in your mind. This is the mental lexicon, but this is organized. It's not separated, no? It's not separated. They are organized. They are interconnected in our mind. That's why here it says the mental lexicon. The brain is better disposed to begin search by the meaning-based lexicon than the form-based one. So our brain starts searching words by the meaning-based lexicon, not by the form-based one. So we are going to interconnect words given by the meaning, the message, no, what you said, no, what you told me. We are going to use these words to talk, to write, and we're not going to produce or hear or listen to them just in isolation, no? That's why here it says based on the meaning, not in the form. We acquire knowledge, when we acquire knowledge requires not only labeling, but categorizing. It's not just giving name. Ah, yeah, this thing is a horse. This is a house. This is labeling, no? Oh, this is a bicycle. Oh, yeah, this is a box. No, we are going to categorize. That's what we call about hyponyms and lexical fields. The second language learner simply maps the word directly onto the mother tongue equivalent, no? So we are going to make this process. We're going to find an equivalent in our mother tongue. But don't get confused here. It doesn't mean that we are going, oh yeah, teacher, it's related to translation. No, 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 not exactly to translation. We're going to use these words that we have in our mother tongue, and we are going to make a relationship in our mind to the second language. No? That's why here it says the learner simply maps the word directly into the mother tongue equivalent. This is unconsciously, all right? It may be the case that for a good many second language learners, most of the words in their L2 lexicon are simply acquaintances. So we are going to find some words which are similar into our mother tongue. For example, in this, we call the famous cognates. The cognates, words which are similar to two languages. For example, here we have doctor or dentist. Oh,
Y
please.
así no lo puedo sacar acá. ¿Cómo está rápido?
Oh, yeah, the microphones, please. Again, the microphones. Yeah, don't forget about it. So this is the way how is vocabulary learned. Notice we are going to use our mental lexicon, and we're going to make a process relating or making a relationship between our mother tongue and a second language, or the target language. Now, how are words remembered? We're going to use some aspects of our memory, no, in order to remember words. One of them is the short-term store. So this stores only just for a few seconds, no? When you remember words just for a few seconds. Then we have the other one, the working memory. So here we have cognitive tasks such as reasoning, learning, and understanding depends on the working memory. So here we have a process, no? The first one is just at the moment, no? Just for a few seconds. The other one is that you start reasoning, you start analyzing, you start learning and understanding. So we call this the working memory, all right? This is called the working memory. And finally, we have the long-term memory. It's a kind of feeling system, no? So you keep these words into your mind for a longer time. No? That's why here says long-term memory. So notice that we're going to use these three. No? First, you use the short-term store. You just memorize so you can remember words just for a few seconds, just for a moment. Then you pass to the working memory, the process itself. No? So you start reasoning, you start learning, you start understanding in this part. And finally, you keep these words for a long term, no? In order to develop this memory, we have some strategies. For example, repetition, retrieval, spacing, pacing, use, cognitive depth, personal organizing, imagine, mnemonics, motivation, attention. So we have some strategies to develop this kind of memory. So we are going to analyze some of them. Repetition. I think this is one of the most common strategies, no? To make or to remember words, no? So it means that we are going to do repeated rehearsal of the organized material while it is still in the working memory. No? So in the process of analyzing the word and understanding the word and learning the words, so you repeat. No? This is a repeated rehearsal. Remember, while these words are still in the working memory. For example, when you read, words stand a good chance of being remembered if they have been met at least 7 times over spaced intervals. This is one of the strategies, no, in order to make our students remember words. No? So we could find tests with some words which are repeated, notice, at least 7 times. Notice, 7 times over spaced intervals. No, just notice here, when we talk about repetition, sometimes we say, yeah, we are going to repeat the word once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times until I get it. It's not something like that. No, try to make a connections. Notice here, a test. Yeah, and here is not saying, yeah, the student must repeat the word once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. No, exactly. Notice here, you give a student a test. They are going to read. But in this test, you find the word at least 7 times. So they are going to find this word as a repetition, right? As a repetition, so they can remember more. The other one is the retrieval. Retrieving a word from memory makes it more likely that the learner will be able to recall it again later. For example, using the new word in written sentences. Oil the path for future recall. So here says that we are going to use words, and notice, use the words in written sentences. This is a retrieval, retrieve something. And they will recall it later, no? They will recall it again later. That's why here says the expression, no? Oil the path. So it means that it's going to be easier to remember in the future when you use. This is very important. I told my students a lot of time, if you learn something, not just learn the theory, you have to use. If you don't use it, you are going to forget. So use it. There's another common expression, another common saying, no? Use it or lose it. It means that you have to use the language, the structure, the vocabulary that you learn, use them. If you don't use them, you're going to forget them. If you use them, you're making this more longer. You're not going to forget so easily. So don't forget about it. So we call this retrieval. Spacing. Spacing is better to distribute memory work across a period of time than to mass it together in a single block. So it means that we are not going to learn too many words in just one moment, no? Oh, 30, 40 words or 50 words together in 10 minutes. It's not so easy. Sometimes we could do it, but I think it's not so helpful. So the aim is to test each item at the longest interval at which it can be reliable be recalled. No? So we have to give it space from some terms, some words to be learned, acquired, and then you have in another moment, in other moments, other groups of words. No? Oh, please, the microphones. Don't forget about the microphones. So we call this the spacing. Remember, this is the spacing. We're going to distribute, notice, we're going to distribute the memory work across a period of time. It means that we're not going to mass it together as a single block, no? As a single block. This is very important to do. The other one is pacing. Pacing is to recognize that our learners have different learning styles and process data at different rates. So ideally, they should be given the opportunity to pace their own rehearsal activities. Now, this is very important, no? So sometimes we are focused, no, my students need to learn this vocabulary this month. That's it. But sometimes they don't have this hurry not to learn this vocabulary. Not so here as teachers we must adequate. No, yeah, okay, yeah, this group could learn this group of words together, but maybe this not. They are maybe not motivated or they don't have the appropriate level. No, so they have other skills, other abilities, different learning style. So you must know that, no? To respect the pacing of our students' learning or acquisition. This is very important. Now, to finish with this lesson, and this is the previous point to the next one, we are going to analyze the importance of teaching vocabulary. It's important to teach vocabulary because we provide our students with a tool that will allow them to become independent readers. This is one of the advantages, no? To teach our students vocabulary. They become independent readers. The other ones is to pronounce and understand new words they encounter as they read. The other, to qualify them to communicate with their teacher in English. In reading, writing, and discussion lessons, teachers are required to introduce new vocabulary items. Therefore, they have to have the sufficient skills to present those new words. And notice all the benefits that we could have when we teach vocabulary. The first one is we make our students independent readers. They can pronounce and understand new words they encounter as they read. So they qualify them to communicate, no, this is very important, to communicate with the teacher, but not just the teacher, no, with their classmates, with other people in English. And this is the purpose, no? In reading, writing, and discussion lessons, teachers are required to introduce new vocabulary items. This is another one, no? Not just to repeat the same vocabulary, the same topic. So as a teacher, you change, no? You introduce new vocabulary items in a reading lesson, in a writing lesson, or maybe in a speaking or discussion lesson. And also they have the sufficient skills to present those new words. No, they could explain, they could talk about new topic, not just words, topics, no, situation, context, not just with one specific context or topic, no. Sometimes it happens, no? You know about a topic, but maybe you don't know how to say or how which words to use if you change the topic. So if we develop this increase in vocabulary in our students, they could speak or they could talk or they could write, they could understand what they hear or what they read in different contexts, in different situations. As I told you before, no? Remember this saying, no? With no grammar, we can do little. With no vocabulary, we can do nothing. No? So it's very important vocabulary to acquire, to learn this vocabulary. And the next lesson, we are going to talk about the different techniques that we are going to use or strategies that we are going to use to teach vocabulary. And also, this is related to remember, no? To make our students remember words, all right? So, we are going to stop here. Yeah? We are going to stop here. Remember, the next session, we're going to finish with module 9. Yeah, we're just finishing with the module 9, the next session. After that, we pass to the last module that is related to the ICT, all right? So we are just getting to the end of this program, this specialization program. Yeah? So don't forget, please, to be on time. Try to be on time. Yeah? And don't miss the classes. That session is very important. And also you have the materials on the platform too. No? So try to get advantage of these materials, of these sessions, and in order to increase maybe your knowledge. Maybe most of you know about this topic, but you can increase or maybe you have other ideas, no, about this topic. So this is the purpose of this program, no? Is to specialize in some aspects that maybe you know, but you can expand it or maybe you can use it. All right. So this is the most important part here. All right. So we are going to stop here. Have a nice weekend. Yeah, have a nice weekend. Thanks for your attention and participation. See you next week.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you,
See you
next
next
Thanks,
week.
teacher.
teacher.
Thank you,
Thank you,
teacher.
teacher, so much.
Thanks, teacher.
Have
Goodbye.
a nice weekend.
Thanks,
See you
teacher.
weekend.
Goodbye, goodbye. Take care a lot.
Thank you,
Thank you,
teacher.
teacher.
Hello,
See
Have
you
a
next
teacher.
week.
nice